Hello, little gremlins. My name is Finn, and I'm here with no one. I'm here by myself in this beautiful white void of nothingness. And welcome back to Why Are We in a Void? Now, if you did not tune in for our first episode, you can go ahead and watch that back, and you'll meet Ivan, my dear, sweet, sweet friend, who has been swallowed up by the void and sent back home while I sit here all alone. But that's alright, we still have fun here. Anyways, so we have finally decided on the schedule for this podcast for the people who have been messaging me and asking me. I know you haven't watched the first episode, by the way, people messaging me about that. Get on it. I understand, though, some people are busy and do not have time to sit down and listen to a whole hour of nothingness. But anyways, this podcast will be uploaded every month on the 15th. I will make sure of it. If I miss a day, feel free to yell at me. Anyways, what's today's topic? Last episode, we had the topic of high school. So if you want to know a little bit more about me and Ivan in high school, I recommend you go watch episode 1, but this is episode 2. And the only topic I have is that I am all alone, very lonely in this beautiful white void of nothingness. So there has been a couple things that have been happening outside of the void, of course. We're not getting into politics. We're not going to get into religion, of course, because I frankly do not want to go into that rant, especially with myself. Also, I have very beautiful music coming into my ear, being whispered by the sweet, sweet void. And it's so calming. I do not want to get enraged by such topics. So we'll leave that out. I don't know. There's not much that's been happening to me for this past month. There have been a couple of things here and there. Personal stuff. Very personal stuff for me and myself only. I did go shopping. The void has spawned in some shops for me, and I did go shopping for my classes. If you did not know, I have what they call skills labs, and since I'm doing school online, I do have to go out of town to go to these skill labs. Excuse me. I was thinking of Ivan. I got sleepy all of a sudden. Jeez. Anyways, also, the mention of Ivan is gonna be pretty frequent because he is my very, very lovely co-host, and I am missing him very dearly while recording this. Anyways, so I did go shopping. I had to go shopping for new shoes because our next skill labs, we are going to be working with chemicals and bodily fluids. So I had to get proper shoes. I also got a couple shirts. I'm not gonna lie. Last time that I had to wear my scrubs for class, I did wear a shirt where technically you could not see it from underneath the scrubs, but it's getting hot. And I was like, I'm gonna need some tank tops because the last time after class ended, I had to wait outside and it was super hot, and I don't want to deal with that again. So I got a couple of shirts that will work, hopefully, very amazingly for that. Besides that, there's not really much that's been happening. Let's see, I'm trying to think because we're barely 4 minutes in. There's a couple of things that have been happening, I suppose, that I can share with you guys. So, hold on. The sweet, sweet void is whispering in my ear. So, a couple of days back, on a weekend, I actually went to my great-grandmother's house. And it was right after I had spent some time with my grandfather. We were doing a couple things discussing when I had to go to a different town for skill labs, and him saying that he's willing to take me, which I'm very grateful for because, God, the bus ride, I'll tell that story next. Bus ride was something else. But looking at it now, and I've been looking at it for a while because it's something that protrudes in your mind sometimes, is that the way that I live now is very Americanized. It's not similar to, I guess, the roots that I've come from and how I was growing up, very more on the Hispanic side and stuff like that. Now I'm more very Americanized. And going back to my great grandmother's house, where everything is still very, like, they're still in their Mexican roots, and they're still, like, it was just a different experience, especially since living in a household that, like, 99% of the time we only speak English. So going to my great grandmother's house, where 99% of the time they're speaking Spanish, it's very interesting. Of course, I understand it. I don't speak well in Spanish. I think I speak well enough where I can get my point across, but it's something that I grew up kind of denying, which from what I've heard a lot of people do, that I grew up with, at least, we denied our Hispanic side, and just like a lot of us would refuse to learn Spanish. I did for a long time. I refused to learn Spanish as well, despite going to schools where a lot of people would speak a lot of Spanish as well, because I lived in a very Hispanic and Mexican heavy community. But I always denied it in a way. And now I'm finally like accepting it more. I'm watching more Hispanic and Mexican creators. And it's very interesting. It is interesting in my eyes, seeing how now that we have ways of watching other people and seeing people express themselves and where they came from and all that, like, it's really helpful for me, because that's just seeing creators embracing who they are. It's very inspiring in a way for me to go back to my roots and look at everything in it. Anyways, so I was at my great grandmother's house for my grandmother's birthday, and I completely forgot. I'm not gonna lie, I've been so busy and with a hectic schedule that I'm not good with birthdays in the first place. Excuse me. But yeah, I'm not good with birthdays and dates in general. I'm so bad at it. And then to top it off with just having a very hectic schedule, it slipped my mind and I felt so bad. But being able to be there and celebrate was very lovely, very nice. It was pretty small. I saw a relative that I had not seen for a long time, and I heard some things, and I was like, I don't know if I want to interact with you. But it was interesting. It was very nice though, and we had some cake. It was okay cake. We had some ice cream. I listen, I love ice cream, but that was not ice cream. I don't know what that was, but that was not ice cream. And it was very nice. I was very tired though. Like, I think they could tell because they kept asking if I was okay and stuff, and I was like, no, I'm just tired, you know. I came home, and as soon as I laid down, I was like, I'm gonna fall asleep. So I put on a video. I fell asleep for a while. Got back up, did some homework, and I think afterwards I went to bed fully, which is very interesting because recently I've had a very horrible sleep schedule where I would be staying up until like 8 or 9 in the morning and then barely sleeping until like 1 or 2. But recently I have been going to bed at like 10 p.m., 10 to 12, around that time frame, and I've been waking up at like 6 to 8. So right now, recording this, I've been awake for a while, doing this between classes, by the way, which is fine because today, the day that I'm recording this, so that I can send it off to be edited, it's not that bad. I don't have a heavy schedule. I have like one thing to do. Usually, depending on what classes I have, I would have a semi-load, but since I have a skills lab this semester, excuse me, the class that I have a skills lab, they're like, you're coming on campus soon, so we're gonna lessen your load, so when you have to come over here for classes, they know that a lot of us have to travel, and when you come over here for classes, you won't have to worry about a lot of homework. While my other class is just like, nah, you can stop the regular amount of like 20 assignments per week, which is fine. Some of the assignments are pretty easy, you know, you just answer a couple questions and you're done. Hold on. I got a tweet. Oh, it's not that important. Okay. speaking of which, since we're already on the topic, might as well just start the story. So this is my second skills lab, and I have to go in 3 in total. So this is my second to last one, also my second one. But the first time I had to go, it was very nerve-wracking because, one, I had no idea how I was going to go there. It's from where I live, it's a good drive. Plane tickets are expensive. Excuse me. My goodness. So we were trying to think about it. We're like, ooh, how are we going to do this? Because we only have one car. We still only have one car, but that's a different story. And we're like, how are we going to do this? How are we going to get me over there if plane tickets are way too expensive? And we were thinking about it. We're like, oh my gosh, bus tickets. We can go on the bus. And so we did that. We looked up bus tickets. It's not that expensive than what we thought for like to go there and back. The only problem was it was a lot of hours. Oh my goodness. So I'm over here freaking out. I'm like, oh gosh, I have to get on the bus and stuff, whatever. We got it in a month's advance. So me freaking out lasted for like a day or two, and then it kind of slipped my mind until it was like, oh snap, I gotta leave in like 2 days. So I made a whole list of things I should take, packed it up in my duffel bag, and I was like, but I want to carry it with me. See, this is the thing. I've never been on a bus before for like that long. I've been on a bus, like touring the towns and stuff like that, but that's about it, right? Never been on a bus that intentionally goes between towns and stuff like that and stay on it while we go between towns. And so I look at my duffel bag and I'm like, it's a small duffel bag. And I was like, I don't know if they'll let me carry it with me. And so I was like, let me find my backpack. And I have a backpack from high school. It has a lot of space. It's a pretty decently sized backpack. And so I start shoving everything in my backpack, and I realize, oh snap, I can't fit everything in my backpack. And so I sacrifice my blow dryer, my straightener. It's very humid over there, the town that I went to. I'll just say it. I went to San Antonio. And so I was like, I'll sacrifice my blow dryer, my straightener. I'll just really tightly braid my hair, which when you go to your skills lab, you have a uniform you have to follow anyways, and you have to have your hair out of your face. But I wanted to just straighten it and put in a ponytail. And I was like, I'll sacrifice it. I'll braid it. And I think what else I sacrificed, I couldn't take my towel. I didn't want to borrow a towel, so I was going to take my own towel, but it wouldn't fit. So I was like, okay, I won't take my towel either. And I think after that, everything fit basically. Took my laptop, took my chargers, all that and stuff. And so I had it packed already the day before. I was like, okay, cool. And I tried to sleep. I really did. But I have this horrible thing. A lot of people can relate. I'm pretty sure you can relate. Where if you have something the next day, you kind of get nervous, you kind of get anxious, And I was like, but I have to go to bed early because I have to wake up earlier than I'm used to waking up, which is the thing. Some people are gonna be like, it wasn't that early. I had to leave at 1. I had to leave at 1 to get on the bus. But the thing is, I got so used to, because my school schedule is kind of flexible, where I can start at any time technically on some stuff, as long as I turn assignments in on time. So I got used to waking up barely at 1-ish. Excuse me. And that's the thing. I had to be ready, and I had to be out the door at 1. So I was like, oh, let me go to sleep early. And I couldn't sleep. It was 9:30, and I already knew I was wide awake. I wanted to be in bed by 10. And I was like, what can I do? I had some sleeping pills left over. I took half because that's the normal dose that they prescribed to me when I first got them, was half a dose. So I took half a dose. Somehow I still could not sleep. I slept for like an hour or two, woke up, checked my phone, and it was the middle of the night. And I was like, great, I'm wide awake again. What am I going to do? So I put on some YouTube videos and I'm chilling. And I realized I put on like an hour long video, because usually when I go to sleep and I'm not sleeping with music, I'm sleeping with videos. I put something that's pretty long in case it takes me more than 15 minutes to fall asleep. And so I'm laying down, have this video on, and I realize, oh snap, the video finished. It's like an hour something long video, and I finished this whole thing. What the hell? And so I put on another one. I turn off my screen. I turn around so it's at my back so I don't get distracted again. I think I fell asleep in between, like in the middle of the video. I don't know. I just know that I fell asleep listening to the video, and I woke up still listening to the video. It was another hour-long thing, and I was like, what is the heck? But anyways, that's not the point of the story. That's just me leading up to it. Come the time where I'm about to leave, my mom was like, dress comfortably. She's been on the bus before. She was telling me what she knows. She's like, dress comfortably. So I put on like sweatpants and just a regular t-shirt. I packed a sweater. Well, I didn't pack a sweater. I was holding my sweater because she was like, it might get cold, so take a sweater. So I had my sweater on my arm, and I had my stuffed animal because I cannot sleep without a stuffed animal near me. Plus, it's a good pillow. So I had them. I was holding it, put on my backpack, and I'm ready. I'm out the door. I have my mask and everything. And so I get on this bus. I don't get on the bus. I get on the truck, and we drive there. And I'm like, I don't know what the heck. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm so scared. And my mom's like, it's okay. We'll get down with you and stuff. And my dad's like, I thought we were just going to drop her off and leave. My mom's like, no, what is wrong with you? So they get down with me. I have no idea where what do you call it, terminal or whatever I'm supposed to get on the bus for. And so we go to the lady in the front. I show her my ticket. I'm like, I don't know where to go. And she's like, oh, you go to this, I don't remember how they're labeled, but she's like, you go on B. That's just pretend. She's like, oh, you go on B when they call it out, get on the bus and stuff and whatever. And I was like, okay, whatever. And so my parents walk me to the waiting room, the little waiting area where the terminals are. And they're like, so you got everything? And I was like, yeah, I have everything. I'm good. And they're like, all right, cool beans. Hold on. Sorry. My friend sent me a voice memo. It's just them screaming, whatever. So where was I? Oh gosh, where was I? Terminal, right. Okay, so I go there and I pick a spot where there's a pretty good amount of people here. There was less people than I thought there would be, but there was a good amount of people still. And so I sit off to the side because there's not that many chairs to begin with in this place. So I end up sitting in between the bathrooms and the little restaurant that they have in there. And I sit down. I put my sweater next to me with my stuffed animal so that no one can sit like right next to me. They can still sit next to me, but just not the seat right next to me. And my mom's like, you got everything, you're good. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I'm fine, whatever. They say bye. They leave. I'm like, okay, bye. And I'm looking at the board and I'm like, none of them say like the town that I'm in to San Antonio. What the heck? And so there's a website you can check where the bus is going from and if they're gonna get there on time, whatever. So I go onto the website, I put in my ticket number, and I find out that this bus goes from all the way from Los Angeles to like Dallas, I think. I don't remember. It was Dallas or Houston, one of them. And I was like, oh snap, wow. So I had the right ticket. I was going on the right bus. I was very nervous. You can tell I've never been on this bus before, and I was like, what the hell? Ooh. And so the time comes where more people, it's getting closer to the bus arrival. I always love being early. It's getting closer to the bus time arrival. The people start getting there, and I hear some dude talking, and I'm like, wow, he's pretty loud. He's in a different terminal. He's in the terminal next to ours, but he's not in like our little waiting area. And he's talking on the phone, and he's like, oh God, what did he say? It's been a while. He was like, it's okay, jefe. Like, I got this, man. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get my girl. And I put my headphones back on. I was like, I don't feel like I should be listening to this, even though he's talking pretty loud. He's a good feet amount of weight for me. And he starts talking. I'm not gonna say what he said, but he starts talking about like what he's gonna do with his wife, and I'm like, okay. And then he mentioned something about like taking his daughter out to eat afterwards, and I was like, dude, broski, what the heck? And so I try to tune this out. I start playing a game on my phone. It's whatever. But at the same time, I don't want to waste too much battery in case they don't have plugs on the bus. I did bring a battery pack, but I'd never used that battery pack before. I didn't know how long it was going to last. So I was like, okay, whatever. And then some other people come up with like boxes of stuff, and I'm like, what the heck? This is so interesting. And they bring boxes, they stack them next to them. The dude who's talking on the phone about his wife, like, had hung up at that time. He was greeting all of them. And I was like, that's pretty cool. And then time passes, whatever. There's a couple of more interesting people who come in, but they don't really talk or anything. They're just there. I'm looking at everyone's stuff. I'm like, wow. There's one lady with like 2 suitcases and a duffel bag. And I was like, this is interesting to watch. I love people watching. So that's something I really love to do. People don't think I'm watching because I'm on my phone, scrolling through TikTok, but I'm still keeping an eye out because I also want to be observant just in case. Time comes, they call our bus late. It was like 15 minutes late already. They call out our bus to start lining up. We already started lining up at the time that the bus was supposed to be there. As soon as I saw people lining up, I got up, I grabbed my stuff, I went. I was like, I'm not getting in the back of the bus. I do not care. I want to sit in the front. I need to be as close to the line front as possible. Lady behind me is like, oh my God, I love your stuffed animal. And I was like, thank you. And she's like, is that little dog from Nightmare Before Christmas? For context, the stuffed animal I brought with me was my Rambo stuffy. If you don't know who Rambo is or what it looks like, it's a little, how would you describe it? A little Enderman creature, but half of him's white, half of him's black, and he's wearing a little suit. So I found it really interesting because half of him's black and half of him's white, with a little crown on his head. And she's like, is that the little ghost dog from Nightmare Before Christmas? And I was like, oh no, actually it's a content creator that I watch. And she's like, oh, okay, like a YouTuber? And I was like, no, a live streamer. And we left it there, whatever. And then they call over, they're like, if you're going from this and this, please line up at Terminal B. Your bus will be arriving soon. Please have your tickets ready. Of course, I have my ticket out in my hand because I've been double checking everything and all that. The lady behind me who asked about my stuffed animal was like, oh snap, I need to get my ticket out. So she has a suitcase and like a tote bag. So she puts her tote bag on top of her suitcase. She starts pulling things out, and I'm like, I'm kind of like, I'm not facing front towards the door. I'm stepped to the side so I can have eyes on both the front of the line and behind me. And so she starts taking things out. It's a bunch of children's books, and I was like, oh wow, that's a lot of books. If you have that many books, why would you put your ticket at the bottom of the bag? And then like a tampon falls out, and she's like, oops, well, whatever. So, I'm so silly. And I was like, and so she finally finds it at the bottom of her bag. She has a tiny little ticket. I'm assuming that she bought the ticket at the station. I bought mine online, so I had to print it out myself. Takes out this tiny little ticket, and in my head I'm like, dude, if you have such a small ticket and so much stuff, why did you put it at the bottom of the bag? Like, she had books, right? She could have put it sticking out of a book and at the top, and it would be okay. Yes, whatever. Finally see the bus pull up, and then we hear everyone gets down and stuff like that. And then we hear the dude who comes out with the stand to, I guess, check our tickets. He's like, if you were from Terminal J and are a transfer, please come to the front. You are first. And I was like, oh my God, great. So everyone is going to the front and stuff. Everyone's checking in. The lady that I noticed with 2 suitcases and like the duffel bag, she has 2 kids with her. Pretty, very young kids. I think one of them was like a toddler-ish, maybe like 4 or 5, maybe. So I don't know if that still counts as a toddler. And she goes, I have to put everything on the bottom, blah, blah, blah. I wasn't paying attention. I was like, whatever. I just want it to be my turn. And hopefully there's still seats in the front. And so she's checking in her bags. And of course, the person checking tickets, he's ushering more people to keep going. Like, so we can hurry up, get on our bus. We're already late. It's been 20 minutes. We are 20 minutes late. So everyone starts getting on. He checks my ticket finally. Everyone who's transferring is already on the bus. I get on the bus and I'm like, oh crap, there's not a lot of seats in the front. And I spot one that's like 6-ish seats behind the driver. I was like, perfect, I'm gonna sit here. So I sit there, put my bag right next to me, takes up the whole seat, so no one can sit next to me. I don't want anyone sitting with me. Everyone else gets on. This lady is still checking in her stuff on the bottom. I think she had more stuff. If I remember correctly, before the line started, she moved like all of her stuff next to the door, I guess because it was that much. So, she put it right next to the door. And she gets on the bus. There's no more seats in the front. Like, all the seats in the front were taken. There's only 2 seats in the front left. Everyone else had to sit in the back. And I was lucky enough where I grabbed one of these seats. She comes in, and there's a seat in the very, very front. But I think you're not allowed, I don't know why, but you're not allowed to sit in that seat. Like, that seat, no matter what, should not be taken. I think it's for like, it's a thing for drivers. I don't know. I'll look into it later. She sits down in this. She's holding both of her kids. And the dude who's doing the ticket stuff gets on. And I think he was also the driver. And he was like, oh, ma'am, you can't sit there. And then she was like, I was guaranteed a seat in the front. And this is the only seat in the front. And he was like, okay, but you're not allowed to sit here. So this is not you can't, you can sit anywhere else, but just like not these seats. And she was like, well, I was boarded on first. I was priority. And you let everyone else on before I could even get a seat while I was still checking in my bags. All the front seats are taken. What do you want me to do? And he's like, ma'am, I don't care. Legitimately. He was like, I don't care. We're already late. You can't sit here. Go find a seat. And she's like, this is bull. I paid for a front seat. I paid for priority. Get me a front seat. And he said, ma'am, either go find a seat in the back, or I can call security and we can get you off. And she's like, that is bull. I'm moving. I gotta go meet my man. My kids are with me. And like, I'm like, oh, I feel bad for the kids. I feel so bad for the kids. And she's like, she starts walking towards the back. And then she's like, all these people not waiting for me. I was the first one to get on. I was supposed to be the first one to find my seat. And that, and all this and that. And I was like, dude, that's like, come on, man. Not only that, there was already people on the bus. Because like I said, this bus originally is Los Angeles to Dallas. So seeing how many people were on the bus and where I was in the line, how many people were in front of me, you could tell that... What the heck? Sorry. You could tell that there was people still on this bus. Like, it wasn't just a connect flight, a connect ride. And, people barely coming on from this station. So, I mean, like, it was already going to be hard enough for you to find a front seat. There's people who've been on this bus for maybe from Los Angeles or somewhere in between. You never know. And so I was like, whatever. Okay, drama over. I do have a plug. I see there's a green light and I'm like, perfect. And so I take out my charger to test it and it works. And I'm like, okay, cool. Pog. Dude next to me tries to plug in his phone and he's like, it doesn't work. We haven't left yet, by the way. We have not left yet. So the dude next to me is like, my plug don't work. And he went up to the driver. He's like, my plug don't work. Can you like get me something so I can try to fix it? And the bus driver's like, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. All right. Like, you need to sit down. We need to go. And the dude's like, okay, whatever. And so he sits back down in the seat. He's like, oh, what am I going to do? And he's like fiddling it. He's trying to open it and see what's happening. Dude, it's not going to work. And a dude behind me, not like the seat right behind me, the seat after that one, he's like, you can sit with me, my plug works. And I was like, oh, people are making friends on this bus. Mind you, I am the youngest on the bus. I can tell from like the quick glance that I took, I am the youngest, because most of the people on here, besides that lady with the 2 kids, which she might probably be my age, or I don't know if she would be my age. I'd have to do the math, because I think her oldest son looked like 7-ish. So yeah, maybe I don't know. But besides her, everyone else looked to be in their 30s or older. And I was like, oh gosh. Lady who asked about my stuffed animal was close to me, by the way. She was in the front. She was 2 seats in front of me on the row opposite of me. And I was like, oh, that's pretty interesting. Cool beans. We're going to take a break. We're 30 minutes in. We're going to take a break. Today, we are sponsored by The Void. The Void is an amazing space that gives you the freedom to be who you want to be. Here's a review from Ivan, who's not here, himself. The Void is so beautiful and amazing. Thank you, Void, for taking me from my bed and putting me in this amazing white nothingness. Wow, what an amazing review. I would also like to thank The Void for providing me with a loving home that totally provides me with food and totally lets me sleep. Here are some words from The Void itself. Come join us here in The Void. You will be happy. You are loved. You are wanted. The Void is forever. Wow. Thank you, Void. Now, back to our podcast. So, nothing really eventful happened for the first hour or two. We did go on a stop. A lot of people went off. Of course, smoke breaks and stuff like that. I stayed on the bus for the first 2-3 stops. And I was like, I don't really need to get off or anything like that. I had cash with me, of course, because I knew that we were going to be taking stops, but they were not going to provide us with food. Come on. Why would they? And so I prepared. I had money and stuff like that. And I was like, I don't need anything yet. I'm not hungry yet. I was like, I had something right before leaving, so I can wait. And one of the gas station stops, a lady comes on. And I was like, interesting. And she sat in the seat where the dude who originally was sitting there moved, so she sat there. I was like, interesting. Okay. New person added to the scene. Anyways, so everything was fine and stuff like that. She seemed very friendly and stuff. And so I was like, whatever. Next time we stopped, I was like, all right. I'm checking my app too. I was like, I need to get off now because we're not going to stop for a while again. And so I got down, I went to pee because we've been on for a while. I did have drinks with me, so I was drinking water and I needed to go. And so I was looking around and I was like, should I get something? And I was like, I'm going to get a Monster because I already know myself. I am not going to sleep on this bus. No offense to the people on here with me. I don't trust any of you. I'm not going to sleep, despite the time that we were going to get into San Antonio. And so I got myself a Monster. I got myself some Pringles too. I was like, a little snacky snack. Until, I decide I should get down and get some dinner. And so I get back on. Lady's on the phone. She got down with me, but she got back on the bus before me. She was on the phone. I was like, okay, whatever. I put my headphones back on, plug in some of my electronics because they're kind of already dying. And I decided to do some homework. Whatever. It goes well and stuff. I overhear some of her conversation here and there. Oh God, the story she was telling, my goodness. So, from what I can remember and from my knowledge, what had happened is that her father was in prison and her sister was borrowing the dad's truck and got it impounded and also got arrested. And so she was calling someone to pick up that truck because obviously she was not there to go pick it up. I have no idea who she was talking to. No idea what the relationship was. Nothing. And she was like bad-mouthing her sister a little bit or whatever. I was like, okay, whatever. Normal sibling stuff. Like, this is normal sibling stuff for me. It was pretty hilarious. And so I was like, okay, whatever. And then I zone out for a little bit more, zone back in when she's like, yeah, he's coming out of prison in a couple of weeks, couple of days, something like that. And I was like, okay, she's talking about her dad, and that's cool. Her dad's coming out of prison soon. Maybe that's why they need to get the truck out, So I was like, whatever. I tune back out, start watching, I don't know what I was watching, actually. This is around the time where we are passing through spots that you lose connection in. And I had downloaded a couple of things, so when that happens, because I've traveled to San Antonio before, I've just never done it on the bus. So I downloaded a couple of things ahead of time, so I'd, keep myself entertained and stuff. The only thing I didn't bring, which I might bring this time, is a book. And so, the call drops, and she's like, damn it, I was in the middle of a conversation. And I was like, that's pretty funny. And so she's sitting there, she's staring so intensely at her screen. I'm assuming she's waiting to see her bars go back up so she can call them back. And as soon as that happens, she calls them back and she's like, damn, connection dropped. And I was like, yeah, it happens. And she's like, anyways. And so they continue talking. And in my head, I know, either we're in it or we're about to hit it, the spot where you get connection for a couple of seconds and it drops again. And then her call drops again. And I'm like, yep, we're in that little spot. And she's like, damn it. So next time she gets connection again, she calls back and she's like, I guess she's not a text or anything like that. She calls back and she's like, I'm in a very rough spot for connection. So I just want to let you know, I'll call you back when it seems like we have a stable connection. And I was like, okay, cool, whatever. At this point, the sun's setting. So I was like, okay, next time that we stop, the sun should be gone. So I'm going to get myself dinner because it's around that time. And the thing is, from where I originally left from and where I'm going, you jump an hour ahead. And me not really paying attention to the time or anything like that, me just trying to pass time, I didn't know if that already happened or if it was about to happen, the whole shift in hour thing. Because I honestly, I don't know where it happens. I just know it happens at a point. I think at some point in the ride, I Googled what time is it in enter town name. So I put that sometime. I don't remember when. It was already nighttime, I think. I was trying to check the time from where I was from, and the whole time thing already happened, but whatever. Anyways, so it's pretty quiet. This woman's just sitting there staring out the window. So it's quiet. you know. And I'm just chilling. I decide finally to just put on music. I got tired of the stuff that I had pre-downloaded. So I was like, oh, I'm just going to listen to my playlist, look out the window and stuff. And that's what I do. And that's when I figured out, I had my sweater on already. I was cold. That's when I figured out where I was resting my elbow, right there between, you know, the window and the seat, is the air conditioner as well, not just the top one. So my elbow got pretty cold while staring out the window, but it was totally worth it, in my opinion. I was wearing a sweater anyways. We finally get to our next stop. Sun's already set. Ow. And me being in the front, that's the only downside that I found, is that me being in the front but not being in the very, very front was people in the back do not let you pass. So you have to wait for everyone behind you to leave first, and then finally I can get off. And I really had to pee again. It had been, like, I think we were halfway there at that point. And so I got off, I did my thing, whatever. The lady who's sitting next to me actually got off at the same time as me. And she's like, oh, you can have the stall. And I was like, are you sure? And she's like, yeah, it's kind of small. I'm pretty claustrophobic. I'm waiting for the bigger stall. And I was like, okay, whatever. So I get out. And I saw pizza on my way in, and I was like, I really want me a slice of pizza. Turns out that everyone already grabbed a slice before me. There was no more pizza. I got so sad. So I was like, whatever. I went to go get another Monster. Like I said, I'm not going to sleep on this drive. So I got myself another Monster. And then I saw that they had a refrigerator full of cold foods, and I was like, a sandwich is good enough. I'll eat a sandwich. So I got myself a sandwich. That was it. That's all I got. I also got myself a soda for later on, because you can't just survive on energy drinks. So I got myself a soda. I still had water, so it was all good. Get back on the bus, start munching away on my sandwich, put some Pringles in there. Tasty. Lady sits back down next to me after a while. She finally gets out, and by the time she gets back on, the bus is already, it's time to go, it's time to roll. And so she looks at me and she's like, does your plug work? My plug don't work. And I was like, yeah, my plug works. And she's like, you using it? And I was like, I mean, I'm using one, but I have 2 plugs. And she's like, all right. So she hands me her charger. I plug it in for her, and she gets back on her call after a while. It was with a different person, though. And I don't entirely know their relationship, but she gets on this call. She's all flirty and cutesy, so I assume she's at least dating this person, if not married. And they're talking and stuff, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cute. You know, they're talking. They're video chatting. Like, I can see out of the side of my eye that they're video chatting. I was like, oh, that's so cute, you know, they're video chatting. Like, I was over here texting my friends occasionally when I knew I had connection and stuff, keeping them updated and stuff. And then, so I start reading something off my phone, because I know now at this point we have more stable connectivity than when we had earlier. So I'm reading something off my phone. I think it was like a comic or something. And at some point, like midways through one of the chapters, I hear, who's that with you? Who's behind you? And I was like, oh my God, no. Why? We're on a bus. Like, dude, come on. And of course, I can't hear what he said. She has headphones on. I can only hear what she's saying. And obviously, I'm not going to look over and see, like, what kind of what's happening over there, right? So I keep, like, looking at my phone, like, overhearing. I don't think she knows I can hear. Excuse me. It's just like, I thought I told you not to hang out with her anymore. And I was like, oh, my God. Dude, we're on a bus, bro. My goodness, everything crashed. Luckily, we still have, like, everything. It just froze. But anyways. And so I'm just like, I'm just sitting there like, this is some tasty drama, though. This is pretty entertaining. Like, this whole ride's been stupidly, like, boring and stuff. And so at some point, she's like, you know what? I don't want to talk to you no more. I don't want to hear your excuses. And she hangs up on him. And I'm like, damn, it was just getting good. But whatever. I don't react, nothing. she calls someone else. I don't know who it is, but she calls someone else and she's like, you will not believe what this N-word just did. And I was like, dude, you're a white lady. Bro, you're a girl. I was just like, I pull up Discord. I'm like, I'm updating people on what's happening. I'm just like, bro, this white woman just used the N-word. And I was like, oh my God, what the heck, dude? And so, nothing, whatever. She was just like, at this point, she did kind of like lower her voice. I guess she was kind of calming down and stuff. And just like, whatever. So I can hardly hear her, you know. And so I'm just like, okay, whatever, you know, I'm gonna keep reading and stuff. And we finally get to our next bus stop, and at this point I'm on call with one of my friends. I was like, I miss you, BBG. How you doing? And so I'm on call with him. Excuse me. And I got down, looked around. I didn't buy anything. I just wanted to stretch my legs. And I get back on. And she got down with me. She got down on every stop. And we basically got off like the same time. And she's still on the phone with whoever she was telling, you know, the drama to. So I get back on, and I guess he hears her, and he was like, "Is that her?" And I was like, "Yeah, that was her." You know, that chick. And he was like, "Oh my God, can I stay on call?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." You know, so we stayed on call for a little bit. He overhears some of it, and he hears some of it better than I can. I guess the microphone picks up better than what my ears could, especially with me with my headphones on. And so he's telling me like a little things here and there. I'm like, that's so funny. That is so funny. And he's like, all right, I'm going to go to bed. Stay safe. And I was like, all right, you know, good night. And so I hang up on him. Oh, he hung up on me. Whatever. And so she's like, hold on, I'm getting another call. And I was like, oh my God, a woman. At this point, so many more people are asleep. It's late at night and stuff. It's like middle of the night, I want to say at this point. We're getting closer and closer to our destination. And she's like, what do you want? And then he, like, I don't know what's happening and stuff. So I was like, oh my God, don't tell me it's this man, bro. What's his excuse? I really wish I could hear the other, like, the other side of the conversation. Excuse me. And so she's like, so then why was she there? Why don't you explain? Why don't you start at that? And so she's like quiet for a moment, just listening and stuff like that. She's like, you really weren't doing anything? And then I was just like, bro, you can't just believe that. Like, nah, what the heck? What happened to all this anger where you even dropped the N-word about him earlier? Like, what the heck, bruh? And then she's like, well, I mean, if she was only picking up her stuff, like, okay, I guess it's okay. And I was like, no, there's no way you believe this, bruh. And I'm like, whatever, okay. And so she continued. They're back to their lovey-dovey talk. And I was like, bruh, this woman, the heck. I think she said a couple other things where I'm just like, I don't want to interact with her. Where I was just like, that's a little transphobic. What the heck, bro? But that was, oh my gosh, that was in the span of like a couple of hours. Like that was in the span of a half of the bus ride, man. It was crazy. But like, I'm so glad I had that happen. Like, I feel bad for her and everything. But that whole event, just like, my goodness. Excuse me. That made the bus ride like so much more entertaining. Goodness, I wasted almost all the time with that story. Look, I'm trying to make up for the fact that Ivan's not here today. On the bus ride back, oh God, no, let's not go there first. When I got to San Antonio, I got off the bus into the station, and I was like, one, this is way bigger than my hometowns, and two, goodness, is it crowded. There's a security guard there too, and there's nowhere to sit, hardly anywhere to stand, nowhere to sit. So I'm standing here next to the security guard. Like I'm next to the security guard. I was like, I don't trust anyone here. It looks pretty. We're downtown in San Antonio. I've heard things, and so I stand next to her. Some dude in a wheelchair comes up, like talking about tickets and stuff. Starts getting aggressive. Starts yelling. At this point, I think I'm on call again with two other people, and like I was like, oh my God, I hate this. I want to go home. And then so the security guard moves, and she's no longer next to me, and I was like, and she starts yelling back at him, and I'm like, bruh, what the? It's 3 a.m. Like, bruh. So they're in each other's faces. I'm texting my grandfather, like, are you almost here? Because, like, this man's yelling and I'm scared. And so he texts me, he's like, yeah, I'm almost there. We're pulling up soon. And I was like, okay, good, because I'm scared. And so finally he's like, you know what, whatever. And he rolls away, and I'm like, my goodness. Like, imagine having the balls to be wheelchair bound and still willing to fight a security guard. My goodness. And so she comes back to standing next to me. I think she could tell that I did not want to be there, and I was all alone. Not to mention, not only do I still look young to some people, like younger than what I am, and I'm standing here holding a stuffed animal, I don't think that helped my case a lot. But I refused to put Rhombus in my backpack. That, and he did not fit. So my grandpa finally calls, and I'm like, okay, I gotta hang up on you guys. And they're like, that was entertaining to listen to. And I was like, yeah, I muted for half of that. So I get on call with my grandpa, and he's like, okay, you can come out now. And I'm like, how do I get out of here? And he's like, there's doors right there. And I was like, there's a bench in front of that door. I can't get out of the door. And he's like, oh, go to the other side of the building, whatever. And so I'm like, how do I get over there? And I'm like walking through, and I'm like, oh, it's through here. That's hardly noticeable, Jesus. And it was a restaurant that was closed. There's a bunch of people sitting in there, like, waiting, I suppose. Got at the door, hopped into the truck. All's good. My, what do I call her? Step grandma. My step grandmother. She dropped one of her headphones. I guess she was wearing headphones while sitting in this truck. And to be fair, the music was off. And she dropped her headphone and just looking for it. A taxi pulls up behind us, starts honking. And my grandpa, like, just is like, what? Like, what? And I'm like, okay, I understand. We're not supposed to be parked here and stuff, but come on. Like, so she's looking for her headphone. It's taking a while. She can't find it. Turns on her flashlight. She's looking. Guy gets off the taxi, comes up to her, and he's like, what are you doing parked here? You're not supposed to be parked here. And he's like, my lady dropped her headphone. Like, calm down. He's like, what are you doing? You dropping her off? And then he's like, no, I'm picking someone up. And he's like, oh, okay, you're picking someone up. And he's like, yeah. My grandpa's like, yeah, I'm picking someone up, but my lady just dropped her headphone. I keep hitting things. My lady just dropped her headphone. Like, give us a moment, we'll get out of your way. And he's like, okay, I'm sorry, dude. And I was like, what? How did he flip so fast? He went from, like, angry and wanting to fight us to, oh, okay, yeah, okay, take your time. So she finds her headphone, she gets back in, and we're driving home to his house, and he's like, how was it? I told him the story about the lady, and he's like, oh my gosh. And he's like, you hungry? And I'm not gonna lie, I was like, I'm a little hungry. And he's like, I know the perfect place, let's get a Whataburger. And I was like, okay, sure. I'm I'm gonna be dead honest. I don't like Whataburger that much. It's okay in my opinion. I know a lot of people are like, oh my god, it's my favorite place. In my opinion, I don't like it that much. There's places if I had to pick, I'd rather, have a home cooked meal, but I'm not. It was like, it's 3:30, 4 in the morning. I wasn't gonna be like, yeah, cook me something now. No. Like, he's willing to buy me food. I was like, I can pay for my own food. He's like, no, I'm paying for it. What's wrong with you? And I was like, I'm sorry. And so he was only going to get me food, but he's like, food sounds good right now. So he got himself food too. And all in all, it was a great experience. Besides the wacky bus rides, it was a good time. I was only there technically for like my class. Only slept for an hour before my class, slept on the couch, but the couch was pretty comfy. They also put like a mattress topper, I think. They put a mattress topper on top of the couch, which I've slept on their couch before, and it's pretty comfy already. But with the mattress topper on top of the mattress, my goodness, I did not want to leave that couch, but I had to. So I showered, I slept for an hour, got up, got dressed, left for class, got some brekkie, left for class, met a couple of people. They were pretty cool. Did not get their contact information for outside of class. No one did. I had one of them for my class after that. I did reply to some of the stuff. I don't think he remembered me or anything. I don't think I gave him my name, if I'm going to be honest. Met a couple of cool people and stuff. Went to a cool restaurant. It was a Chinese buffet restaurant. Really nice, really cool. My grandpa mentioned something about wanting to get donuts, but it was too late because they were already closed. And I was leaving the next day, like in the morning. So I went to bed. Woke up early. I did not sleep that much. If I'm gonna be honest, I did not sleep much. That's okay. Bus ride back wasn't as eventful. I was on call with one of my friends for as long as I could. My goodness, I'm getting so many notifications. Stop it. Stop. But yeah, it was a nice experience. I'm not gonna have the same experience, obviously, because I'm taking my other grandpa, who's not going to go on the bus, going to go on a little car, just the two of us. Hopefully staying in a hotel, because I don't know how it would feel like having both of my grandfathers in a house. And also, last time I slept on the couch, so I don't know how that would work out the next time. I don't think he would mind sleeping on the couch, but I would feel bad him sleeping on the couch. But, yeah. That's there's like 2 minutes left, and I spent most of it telling you about my bus ride. All in all, if you go on a bus ride through many, many towns for hours upon hours at a time, you might get interesting stories. I don't think it would be as interesting. Oh no, I feel like it would be a little more interesting if I had my person with me. But he had work and he could not go with me. So, but it would be very interesting if he was there with me, I think. Because I feel like we'd like pass like little children. We'd pass, quote unquote, pass notes. We'd probably text each other, be like, oh my God, did you just hear what she said? Oh my God, no. And also having someone next to me, because I was against the window. So if I had someone next to me on the aisle seat, closer to be able to hear more of what she was saying, that would be very interesting, I think. I think we would get more context and stuff like that. It was very cool, though. The next time I do have to go on the bus, though, I'm hoping... I think it would be cool to be able to take someone with me. Options are slightly limited. Not only that, the person I would originally want to really go on a bus with, because I think it would be interesting. We don't really talk much anymore, but I could always find someone, possibly. I've I've started talking to someone new, and they're pretty cool, but I haven't been talking to them that much either. So that, and from what I've heard, they're also in school, and I'm online, they're in person. So I don't think that would be able to. But yeah, it's gonna be. I will come back. It's gonna have to wait 2 months because when I have to go back to San Antonio is gonna be after the next podcast. Not this one, the next episode after that one. It's gonna be like 2-3 days after we release that episode. So it's gonna have to wait a while until you can hear any interesting stories that I have from there. But anyways, it has been fun sitting in this white void of nothingness, talking to you guys, telling you one story. It's a pretty funny story, though. It's a pretty interesting story. People love it when I tell them that story. That, or they only pretend that they like it. So, whatever. Ivan says hi, but anyways, it's time for me to go, little gremlins. It was very nice talking to you guys again, and I'll see you next month for another episode of Why Are We in a Void? I really do hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you next time. Bye!